Doing a simulcast. We're simultaneously broadcasting on multiple channels. It's like being in multiple realities. Welcome, listeners. Thank you for joining us this evening on Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
That's me.
We're continuing our series on chakras. But before I go into that, I should just announce that we are broadcasting from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley, and as well as being on the airwaves on the radio, you can also catch the podcast on all major podcasting platforms on my website, drlesliephillips.com. And if you're a real keener, you can join us in the chat room live when we record the show, which is on our Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and on my Dr. Leslie Phillips YouTube channel. And whether you're listening on the radio or whether you're watching the live stream, it's always, or nearly always, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, that's it, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Very good. After 7 years, you figured it out.
Well, thank you. 7 years, wow.
Yeah.
We've been doing this show a long time, but if you are newly discovering us, it's a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different discussion topic or a different item that we give instantaneous teachings upon.
Are we having problems trying to figure out what we're doing tonight?
No, not at all. I just figured it's a good idea every once in a while to explain what the show is about. And also to say it is a talk show, it is a chat show. So we love it when you participate with us.
Does that mean me too?
Yes.
Okay, just checking, because sometimes you don't seem to be happy that I participate.
Oh, it depends. It all depends.
Okay.
Well, folks, this evening we're talking about the heart chakra, and we're doing our 2022 deep dive into intuition and chakras in honor of my book, Intuition and Chakras. And tonight we're doing the heart chakra. We're going to talk about the heart chakra and all of the wonderful qualities of the heart chakra.
Lovely.
And of course, from the perspective of intuition and psychic abilities, because that's really what I'm about and what my book is about. So if you Google about the chakras, or you go into your local metaphysical bookstore, you'll find a lot of books about chakras, but they're mostly to do with healing and chakras and cleansing and clearing the chakras so that you can have mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. And that is very valid approach to learning about the chakras. But not many people, if anyone, has written about psychic abilities in the chakras. And all of the chakras channel different psychic abilities. So tonight we're talking about the heart chakra. And the two aspects of the heart chakra are oneness and affinity. So let's talk about oneness and affinity and what they are and how they impact you and your life. So oneness, another way of saying oneness, is the interconnectedness of all things. Well, that's a short phrase, the interconnectedness of all things, but what does that mean? That means all things, literally all things, everything that you can comprehend, everything that you can't comprehend, everything that you can think of and everything you can't. All things is all people, all animals, all plants, all minerals, all planets, all universes, all beings, everything is interconnected, and you can experience that interconnectedness, that feeling of connection to all that exists through this aspect of oneness in your heart chakra. And within the concept of oneness, because a lot of times I think in spiritual circles, there is this idea that our goal is to merge into the oneness. And then a lot of people are afraid of losing their identity. I'm scared to merge into the oneness. Who will I be then? And my definition of oneness is that it helps you understand who you are and where you fit. So as a human being in a physical body, you have a unique identity. As a soul in the cosmos, you have a unique energy frequency. And as an individual, you are part of everything. And without you, entire universes would collapse. Because you're an integral part of all that is. And you are unique. And so is everybody else. So if you think about oneness in the context of humanity, the human species, I like to think of it in two metaphors. One is a giant jigsaw puzzle, and every person is a piece in the jigsaw puzzle. There are no two pieces the same, and the jigsaw puzzle cannot be completed without all of the pieces occupying the place where they fit amongst the whole. So if you try to squeeze your piece, your corner piece into the middle, it's not going to go very well. And so oneness and your understanding of your place within the oneness helps you understand your purpose, your identity, who you are, how you relate to all the other pieces, how you relate to the entire cosmic consciousness. Affinity, which is the other aspect of the heart chakra. In some senses, I like to think of that as your internal compass. So what is affinity is, oh, yes, Corey, you have a question.
I actually wanted to say something about the oneness and
Sure.
on the entire concept of oneness. Just recently, Dr. Leslie and I have been getting involved with CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but we're going to be doing a show on that as well, coming as soon as we finish this this series. And it's very interesting. We were in a meeting on the weekend where we started to work on connecting with this universal consciousness, which includes extraterrestrials. As a matter of fact, they're pretty easy to get in contact with, if you want to put it that way. It was very interesting. I was a little skeptical, but we did some research on it and we looked into it, and it was very interesting on how this is done. This is, I don't know if anybody would be interested in listening to a show on extraterrestrials and contacting them. I think you should get a hands up. Anybody interested in that? Anyway, Dr. Leslie, I just wanted to mention that.
Oh, sure. So, yeah, we're just one giant symphony where each individual is a note, a vibration, and together we make this amazing music.
Yeah, it's interesting, like we're all waiting. Everybody, most people figure, well, yeah, we accept the fact that there is more in the universe than just us, and it's a matter of not is it possible, it's when will it be possible to connect, but it's possible right now. And one of the Bashar was saying in one of his channelings, which I found was very interesting, when he was asked when aliens are going to make contact with people on the earth, and he said, and I think this is probably the funniest thing I've heard for a long time. He says, when will aliens visit the earth? Why would we want to come to the earth? It's like going to an insane asylum where all the inmates have guns. And I thought that was so apropos, because it's true. When you look all over the earth, there are so many different ways that things are happening, like in a negative term, but yet there is still that oneness, and people out there, take a look, check out CE5. What's the name of the professor, Leslie, that does that? Doctor
Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer, yes. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about being able to not connect with aliens per se, but connect with a universal consciousness. And it's so cool. There you go, Dr. Leslie. I've interrupted for the last time.
Okay. Yes, I had a way of bringing that back to the heart chakra, and then I've lost it. So I have no convenient segue, but I shall find one.
Well,
So,
you were talking into the connectedness, and then you're going into the second part of it.
yeah, I was, but there was something else I was going to say based on what you were talking about, but I've lost it.
It just shows we're not all perfect.
I don't know. So tonight we're talking about the heart chakra and the two aspects of the heart chakra, which are oneness, which is the interconnectedness of all things, and affinity. And so what is affinity? So think about magnetic attraction. Think about passion, enthusiasm, affection. Passion, enthusiasm, affection, they are human expressions of affinity. You also learned about affinity in school when you learned about chemistry and chemical bonds and how different molecules different atoms come together to make molecules. You learned about it in physics and so on. It is the cohesive force of the universe. It holds things together. It's founded on love. And if you think about the idea of forces of cohesion and repulsion, then you can see how every, at least object in the universe, is poised in a particular position or fit. And so affinity, your heart's passion, can be a really fantastic internal compass. So when you feel drawn towards something, that's a form of intuition. That's a form of intuition compelling you or drawing you in a particular direction. That is your affinity. And so if we get our heart chakras clear enough and we're able to listen to that, then we can follow that guidance. And we will always be taken in a direction of our highest excitement of what is our, the most path in most vibrational alignment with who we are. So how else might we think about the heart chakra? Unconditional love, and compassion and kindness, those kinds of qualities. And so what is unconditional love? It is absolute 100% acceptance. Okay, there is no judgment whatsoever in unconditional love. And there is no requirement for forgiveness because there is no judgment in the first place of self or others. And so heart chakra growth cycles can include challenges in those areas. So if you're someone who is judgmental of others, then your heart chakra is out of alignment, is out of balance in those times and moments where you're being judgmental. If you're stuck and unable to forgive somebody, then that is also out of alignment with your higher being and with the underlying principle of the universe, which is unconditional love. The heart chakra is positioned kind of in the middle of the 7 main chakras that we talk about. So in a way, it's connector between heaven and earth. And it's also a balancing point for other things. And one of them is giving and receiving. Giving and receiving. And I find most people that I meet in the work I do are actually unbalanced in their giving and receiving. Most people that I meet, I guess the spiritual ones, are more giving than receiving. So a lot of us have a need to balance our giving and receiving. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back after the break.
Oh boy, we get a break. I love it. Be back very shortly, folks.
Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning into Unlocking Your Truth. And we're talking about the heart chakra in tonight's episode and the intuitive aspects of the heart chakra, oneness and affinity.
Yay.
And we were just talking about some of the types of growth cycles you can go through on a heart chakra level. And one was relating to the dichotomy of giving and receiving and being in balance in your giving and receiving. A lot of people are out of balance on giving and receiving, and often in the healing and intuitive circles, very much on the over giving. And so examples of this are, people pleaser. If you're a people pleaser, somebody who always puts everybody else first and yourself last, where your focus is on keeping other people happy, then you're out of balance on a heart chakra level. Because a balanced heart chakra would allow you to value yourself and validate yourself and put yourself first and fill yourself up with love and appreciation and allow yourself to receive, so that you, when you're giving, it's from a position of overflowing as opposed to from a position of lack and exhaustion because of or because you've emptied your tanks. So the heart chakra is about love, appreciation, acceptance of yourself and others. And the acceptance of self and others is a big one. Most people are not fully accepting of themselves, nor are they fully accepting of others. Often they are judging and criticizing themselves and others. And that is not unconditional love in any way, shape, or form. And that is not in alignment with God, and that is not in alignment with your own higher being. It's an out of alignment state. And so I guess everyone that's listening, if you look at yourself, you can probably see how your heart chakra might be misaligned on those scales of giving and receiving and unconditional love versus lack of acceptance. And if we are lacking in acceptance, then we are stuck in some way, because in order to get out of a situation, let's say you're in a situation and you are just judging that person out there. That person out there is causing me problems. That person out there needs to change their ways. If they would change their ways, everything would just be fine. No, because you are in a state of judgment and resistance of that person. You are in a state of non-acceptance of that person. So acceptance doesn't just mean, oh, this person is all lovely and wonderful. No, it means this person is a mess. This person is acting out. This person is being mean. Whatever it is, it's acceptance of that. And then if you can accept that and allow them to be that way, then you can move on. Yes.
How does that relate to an unbalanced or a blocked heart chakra? Is that when you have problems relating to somebody, is that because your heart chakra is unbalanced, or it's blocked, or underactive, overactive?
Well, there can be different reasons why you're having trouble relating to somebody. But because tonight's show is on the heart chakra, we'll answer the question from the perspective of the heart chakra. Well, I would say if you are judging somebody or not accepting somebody or not forgiving somebody, then that is impeding the flow of energy through your heart chakra. Then your heart chakra is not completely open to the force of divine love, which is the truth that underlies all things, and which is the truth within you and within that other person. So that would be how it would relate to the heart chakra. So some other things that we can say about the heart chakra. It helps you with discernment. You know, if you're trying to make a choice between this and that, how do you feel in your heart? How do you feel in your heart about this and that? You know, which one is more of a repulsion and which is more of a compulsion, or more of an attractive force, which has the strongest pull for you? And so choose that one and follow that one insofar as you can. Now, I was talking to somebody today or yesterday about the balance between head and heart. So I'm very big on clairvoyance, and clairvoyance affords you neutrality. It prevents you being pulled into the mental levels and the emotional levels. But your clairvoyance alone can appear from a human perspective to be quite cold-hearted, because it's so neutral. It just sees it like it is and says it like it is. You know, I see this about you. That's what's going on with you. And so we can combine our awareness of our heart center as well as our awareness of our sixth chakra simultaneously, so that we add the quality of compassion and kindness together with that wonderful neutrality that the sixth chakra gives us. And there is on my website, it's called a free healing course. It's a couple of meditations exactly about that balance between the head and the heart. And there is a really nice meditation in that, where we are feeling into the unconditional love within the heart and expanding it and sitting within that vibration. So If you haven't already downloaded that, I recommend you do, because that will give you an experience of the things that we are talking about in tonight's episode of Unlocking Your Truth. Another couple of aspects just worth mentioning is people often confuse the idea of togetherness and merging energetically with oneness. And so they're not the same thing. Humans will often match on an energy vibration within a group. Or we all have to be the same. To belong to this group, we'll all be this vibration. To belong to this religion, this political party, this family, we all must be the same. We must have the same beliefs. We must vibrate at the same level. That is not oneness, that is merging. And in that merging, the individuality, the precious, unique spark of the divine of each individual is lost. And so it's more about peaceful coexistence and acceptance of each and every one as their unique individual spark. And peace on this planet will be able to be created when we get to the evolutionary level where we are able to do that, where we're able to say, it's not that I'm right and that you're wrong. It's not that my God is the better God than your God. It is that we have such great variety of these beautiful aspects of God all living together, making this wonderful experience of many different choices and this great opportunity to expand by being exposed to all of these different perspectives. So when we can accept each one for our differences and love each other for our differences, then we will be able to move into a more evolved group.
Wouldn't it be nicer if we just didn't see differences?
Well, the differences are what enable you to grow. The differences are what enable you to grow. If someone has a different perspective and a different opinion that you have never heard before, then that allows you to stretch, that allows you to shift, and that allows you to change. Okay, it's not the same as being programmed into the same belief system. If we didn't see differences, in a way, how would we grow? Well, I guess by following our excitement, which is what the heart chakra is all about. Your heart chakra and its this idea of the magnetic and cohesive forces are also what relates to the synchronicities of life. So if you are in your passion and your heart chakra is clear, then that idea when people and places and experiences all start to stack up in just the right way, and it's just such amazing synchronicities, then that is that's relating to your heart center as well. So I think I've probably said enough. If you want to know more about the heart chakra or any other chakra, then if you don't already have a copy of Intuition and Chakras, then get yourself a copy and you can read all about it. And you know, I read my chapter on the heart chakra before we came on air. And I thought, well, it's so funny when you write a book, because it's like when you read it yourself, it's like you are the reader of it. And there's different layers. There's different layers and realizations that come as you read it over and over again, and depending on where you're at when you read it. Right.
Folks, what she actually said was, gee, I'm a good writer.
I validated myself.
Yeah. And folks,
I appreciated myself.
If you do have the book and you've read it and you haven't yet gone on to Amazon, go on to Amazon and give us a like on there, for a review on there.
Review.
Yeah, for Dr. Leslie. because that'd be nice
That's
if you
how
like the
people
book.
get and
By who we are giving or
then
expressing
that
it to.
will come up on the algorithm depending on that.
Yeah. And what happens when what we give is not received?
What happens when what you have to give is not received? So you need to be able to give and receive in a neutral way without expectation of how what you're giving will be received. And also expand your concept of giving and receiving so that it is not just linear. I give to you, you must receive it, then you give to me and I receive it back, right? And so if you can expand your concept, then there are plenty of ways for you to give and plenty of ways for you to receive, regardless if you have a person in your life who is unable to receive or unable to give.
Hmm. And the other thing too is it's not just if it's not received. I think one of the critical things there too is not received in the way you think it should be received. And the key word there, should be received by that person.
Yes, let go of all your shoulds, replace them with coulds.
Yeah.
Should is a very definite, you should, as opposed to you have a choice, you could.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of times that we do that. We give to people, give of ourselves to people or whatever, and it's not received it's received, but we were expecting more, we were expecting, whereas we just got, and, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's all about, and it may even make it sound a little bit selfish to say it doesn't matter how it's received as long as you're receiving from giving it. That could be considered a little selfish too, but I really don't see that. I think it's just, just give and just walk away. Just don't even look at how it's received. Just let it be.
You made a good point when you said allowing yourself to receive from the act of giving, because you do receive something when you give. You might receive the pleasure of giving, for example, but also in the context of the oneness and the interconnectedness of all things, and how ultimately we are one expression of, how am I trying to say this? We are one expressing itself in a multitude of ways. So when you do give to another, you ultimately are giving to yourself, because ultimately we are one. And so to give is to receive in a way. And then it gets paradoxical, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole.
Talk about it. Yeah,
you can go down that rabbit hole. Like it just keeps going. You can get to the point where why you shouldn't have to give. We should just be receiving through the universal oneness as opposed to from individuals, because that's going through the universal oneness anyway and coming to you.
Absolutely. Ultimately, this life is about getting in alignment with your own higher being, and everything you could ever want already exists within your higher being, and your job is to get out of your own way so that you can receive all of that. And then the rest of creation just will arrange itself around you. All right, I
Yeah.
think we should have another question.
Yeah, well, we're actually just about ready for a break.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just wanted to say one more thing, and I don't want to take away from any of the people asking questions, individual questions about this, because it's just my outlook on it, right? You know, if you've got to ask about it, you know, then you're looking for, what's the word I'm looking for physical, concrete justification, or it's become a physical experience as opposed to a spiritual experience. Anyway, I had a thought there, but it sort of slipped by me.
Welcome to join the club. Okay,
Yeah.
so folks, we're going to another break and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's episode of Unlocking Your Truth about the heart chakra, and we are now taking your questions.
Yes, we are taking your questions. Not going to do anything with them. We're just going to take them.
Just receive them. We might not give anything in return. We might just receive them.
What can I say? Okay, this is from Shannon. Shannon says, hello, lovely Leslie and Mr. Corey. I got called Mr. Corey. I've been intending to give with all my heart in my real estate profession to my clients and my team. May you check my energy around my career. Thank you.
Check your energy around your career. Well, there's a level of striving to succeed and striving to be liked, which pulls you out of alignment. And so look at the idea of, are you in any way a people pleaser? And because of course, it's interesting, isn't it? Being a realtor kind of is a job to be a people pleaser, because you've got these people who you're trying to please because you're trying to sell them a house. So you're taking them to different places. But it looks like there's your energy's going out of your space and depending on the others to validate you, as opposed to just being in alignment and magnetizing through your own in alignment energy. So I hope that that resonates with you, Shannon, and thank you for calling me lovely Leslie. I like it when you do that.
I have something to add to that. After being in sales, my good part of my career, in customer service, a good part of my career as well, the one of the key things I've always found is never get caught selling. And I say that like in the sense of never really try to sell somebody something. And I think, Shannon, especially in your career, what you're doing in your career is not trying to sell the house. If you stop trying to sell the house and you start trying to fulfill your client's desires with a house, I mean, I think too many salespeople in the real estate, especially in the real estate industry, are just trying to sell because it's such a, the market out there is so many people. But it's such a nice thing to be able to make a dream come true, but to help make a dream come true without trying to sell what's going on around that dream, so just let it be, let it listen. And the best way to do that is listen with an open heart. Don't listen with your ears, listen with your heart. What are these people really, what's their real desire? What are they looking for? Yeah, they want this many rooms and things like that, but what is it they're really looking for? And you'll find with that, then you start manifesting the right house for them as well. And you basically won't be, you can't miss. You can't miss. I guarantee it. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth.
You know, you
And
haven't used your new name in this show yet, Corey.
the psychic sidekick? Dr. Leslie got the biggest kick last week when I called myself the psychic sidekick. Did I actually say that on Saturday in our meeting on Saturday? I think I did as well. Oh, I thought I did. I thought I called myself the psychic sidekick. Anyway, yes, I'm Dr. Leslie's psychic sidekick. Shannon says, I do like to help people get what they want and need. Thank you both so much. Yeah. Anderini, can you check if my current job is aligned with my heart chakra?
That's interesting. I wonder if you're in the same job as last time I spoke with you. Because in some senses, it looks like it is. So I don't know, have you changed jobs? Well, right now, it kind of looks like there is something that you are benefiting and receiving and getting out of that job. And it looks like there are some other aspects in your life that are causing you a bit more grief than the job. So it doesn't look like it's out of alignment. It looks like that there are things that you are learning from that job. All right.
Yeah, the thing about jobs too is you know, are you in line with it? Just be in alignment with it. It's people change jobs and change relationships too readily because I mean, there's no love left, they say, in the relationship. Well, love is a verb. It's not a noun. Love, if there's no love, start loving again and get that loving relationship flowing again. It's the same thing with your job. If you're looking for something specific from your job, the probability is you're not giving to that job, because if you're giving, you wouldn't be looking for anything because you would be satisfied with the giving in a way. You know what I mean? Like there's a boom, boom, a reverberation, a vibration that matches you when you give. There's a vibration that matches, and even at work. And I'm not saying your boss is going to come to you, oh, great job or anything. No, you get satisfaction with it. Then you don't even have to ask if you're you don't have to ask about your job. You don't have to ask about those things. It's truly about being present in that position, in that job. It's about just building it. You know, it's weird, but it sounds strange, but that's, I mean, I've had jobs where I've loved my job, but up until one day, like 6-7 years later, one day I decided I didn't like it anymore, and all of a sudden it became miserable. But it was the exact same job. What changed? Me. I changed.
Yes, and just one more comment, too, actually. What you just said, wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. But also in Anderini's case, it just feels like that job is taking you somewhere, you know. So sometimes that's within that position we grow, but sometimes it's just a step for the next thing. So it feels like it is part of your path, and that there's a momentum in a particular direction that is being built by doing it.
Yeah. It's almost like animals. You see it in dogs a lot, right? People look at dogs, and if you're afraid of a dog, the dog will growl at you, right? But if you keep an open heart and just completely open, dogs sense that, and they just want to lick you to death. And it doesn't matter the type of dog. I mean, they're all the same. It's just you're interrelation. It's the same thing with kids. You see that with little ones a lot too, with children. Brian has a question, as a comment as well. He says, one amazing thing I found a lot lately is that when we give, even if it's not received the way we think it could or should, the fact that we put that energy out there, the universe somehow does something with it, and amazing manifestations happen for both the giver and the receiver. I found that especially true if giving is intuitive, and I don't always understand why. It doesn't always make sense to me.
Thank you, Brian.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. I have one experience I'd like to share about that. I was coming out of a drugstore. This was about 12, 13 years ago. I was coming out of a drugstore, and there was a guy there saying, you know, getting change and stuff like that. And I looked at him, and I usually don't give to people that do that. And I went in my pocket, took out a $5 bill and gave him a $5 bill. And the next thing you know, his daughter comes up, who's probably about 8 years old, and looks at the $5. Oh, great, we can go home now. We can buy groceries on the way home. It was just just a wonderful experience, you know, like, the experience wasn't from giving the money. The experience was from receiving the relief from this little girl about her gratitude for it. You know, it was quite interesting. Anyway, Brian, Dr. Leslie, can you take a quick look at my heart chakra and see if there's anything there I need to know? This is an area that's been opening more and more for me in my recent years.
Well, it kind of shows. Let's see. But you are showing me an area that, the reason you're asking that question is that there's an area that you're wanting to bring into your awareness where you're wanting to clear a block or overcome a challenge. So give me a moment while I look at what that's to do with. I have a studio light that's burned onto my retina, and when I close my eyes, all I can see is this light. Give me a moment, it's distracting me from looking at you, Brian. It feels like it's maybe something to do with the guilt. And it just came up to say, just know that you've not done anything wrong. You've not done anything wrong. There's nothing to feel guilty about or ashamed about. That it just looks like there's some things that you've put in a box in your heart chakra and said, I should have done better at that, or I should have been different then, or I, fill in the blank. And I would just say, well, let go of the past completely. There's, forgive yourself if there are things that you've been blaming yourself for. That's what's coming up. That's it. Short and sweet. Sort of.
Hey, this is from George. George says, how do you clear a blocked chakra, the heart chakra?
Is that Curious George or a different George?
Different George.
Oh, okay. Well, there's different ways, George. And of course, I don't know if you're a regular watching the show, but I have a school called the School of Intuition, and there's loads and loads of different psychic development classes. And in those classes, we go in great depth into healing and balancing the chakras. What I can say to you is that meditation, if you were tuned in earlier, Corey posted a link to a healing meditation and there is part of that meditation, you are focusing on opening your heart chakra and allowing an outpouring of love. And so in particular for the heart chakra, that's a great way to unblock and heal the heart chakra. All right, next question.
Okay, this is from Lori. Lori says, I have to disagree with Corey. I find there are games, etc., that come with the workplace that does not always work for everyone except the game players.
Yes.
I agree.
We've all encountered those game players or the sociopath at work. Yeah, let me see if there's anything to say about that. Give us a moment.
I have something after you're done.
The game player only has a game when somebody else plays the game with them. Now, sometimes it appears that you have no choice, because if that game player is your boss, then, you know, what do you do? What do you do about that? And I would just say the best, in a way, the best you can do is there's always something to learn from any situation you find yourself in. And on some level, you've created that opportunity to learn. You wouldn't be, you do create your own reality, and you are not a victim in those circumstances, so that you can position it in your perception of it so that you can grow from the experience.
Yeah, very true. And Lori, I agree with you 100%. However, I've been in that position too. However, I found every time that I took a job out of, for the lack of a better word, desperation, that I really needed a new job to get away from the old job, things started happening in the new job as well. I think what we need to do is really trust in our intuition, in our psyche, before we take the job. I mean, if I had a longer time, I could tell you what my experience has been over the past 15 years with regards to jobs and job search, and you would be shocked. And yet here we are. It's worked out. But yet in my mind, even today, I was having a problem with coping with the many years of being molded into a position by the companies I worked for, the people that said I had to work, and the friends and relatives that said I had to succeed. Whereas none of that was really true. I just had to let it be. And as soon as I let it be, everything happened. Everything happened wonderfully.
I'll share a story, which is a flip side of the point you were making, which is trust your intuition. I had a wonderful job once that I really liked back when I was in the pharmaceutical industry. And a new person was being interviewed for a position in between me and my boss. And they were interviewed by all the senior executives and me. And everybody liked this person. And I said to my boss, if I have to work with them, I will boil my head in oil. Because I intuitively picked up this person is trouble. And my boss said, well, Leslie, if you don't want to work with this person, we won't hire them. At the same time, the pressure of the whole management team wanting to hire that person, I reneged and said, well, I'll try and get along with them then. That person turned out to be the sociopath at work that single-handedly got my boss fired, cleared out the whole department, changed the direction, you know. And so, yeah, trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, folks. That's it for tonight again. It's been another wonderful show. And next week, we're going to be talking about the third eye, the sixth chakra.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye, all.
Bye, everybody.